Hey friends, I'm Andy. How you doing? Good to see ya. Analysis paralysis is real, and investors seeking to hop into the market for the first time or to diversify an already existing portfolio probably suffer from it more than anyone. Luckily, there are investment opportunities out there that are a one-stop shop for investors who don't want to get down into the investing weeds. These investments are called index funds and exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, and we should talk more about why they might be right for you.
Soldier boy, tell.
Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Index funds and exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, have a long-standing history of growth and are what's up for investors who want diversification and low fees while investing in a wide variety of stocks across different sectors or markets on the whole. They're also great for anyone who is down with the buy and hold strategy and doesn't want to have to take on a full-time job of watching the market. If you want more detail than that, and I'm guessing you do, then stick around for the rest of the video because I'll dive into what makes index funds and ETFs unique, what the pros and cons are, and whether you should consider having them as part of your portfolio or not. But before we get down to business, please click that like button. It costs you nothing and the YouTube algorithm loves it. I appreciate it. All right. Let's get into it. First of all, what are even index funds and ETFs? It sounds so complicated, but it's really not. Index funds and ETFs are both a basket of securities that are designed to track a sector of the market. Okay, now what does that mean? It means that instead of buying hundreds of individual stocks, you can buy one single security or fund and reasonably expect the same average returns that you'd have if you bought hundreds of stocks on your own. Whew, that's a mouthful. How are they different? Well, ETFs trade on the stock market and they trade as one single stock. Index funds resemble mutual funds, but instead of targeting growth or capital preservation, they aim to produce the average returns of a sector of the market they are tracking. ETFs have been trading on the stock market since a time when nobody left home without their pager or flannel overshirt. That's the 90s for those of you who aren't familiar with the grunge days. ETFs didn't take off right away, but once they started picking up steam, the train picked up $5 trillion of assets over its relatively short, almost 30-year history. Index funds have slightly more gray hair as they were modeled for the first time in 1960. Paul Feldstein and Edward Renshaw invented the notion of index funds as a project for the University of Chicago because research told them that no mutual funds to date could beat market performance. John Bogle, the founder of the Vanguard Group, took the first index fund to the market in 1976. Since then, index funds have ballooned to over $11 trillion. Now that we know a little bit more about when they started, let's talk more about why index funds and ETFs are a basket of securities you want to carry. There is a reason why index funds and ETFs are so popular, and it's not just because they're the center of attention at parties. Besides the fact that Warren Buffett is on the record as saying, by periodically investing in an index fund, the know-nothing investors can actually outperform investment professionals. There are 5 main benefits that they offer. The first benefit is that index funds and ETFs have attractive returns. There are index funds and ETFs for all manner of markets and sectors. There are index funds and ETFs that track small cap funds, the technology sector, the entire stock market, green energy, etc. The market or sector you are tracking will determine the kind of results you can expect, since the goal of these securities is to match or outperform them. Index funds and ETFs also offer immediate diversification. The entire premise of index funds and ETFs is that you are buying a basket of securities so that you don't have to try and buy hundreds of securities on your own. Any quick Google search about how to be successful when investing will list diversification somewhere on the list, and if they don't, they're wrong. The diversification offered in index funds and ETFs expose you to a myriad of securities that will all react in different ways to the same event. What does that mean? It means that the risk is spread out and your portfolio will hopefully look like a dog bounding up a set of stairs instead of a ball bouncing. Look at that ball bounce. The market, no matter the sector, inherently has ups and downs. The goal is just to minimize the day-to-day effects on your portfolio. All right, now let's be clear, investing in the market is risky. You can mitigate risk, but you cannot eliminate it. The diversification of index funds and ETFs makes them a lot less risky than the market. Next, both index funds and ETFs have mostly hands-off kind of investment. Hands-off. If you're just getting started investing or don't want to spend all your time watching the market, these options could be the perfect fit for you. A buy and hold strategy is widely accepted as the investing gold standard. The buy and hold strategy removes the emotion from investing because fewer things trigger emotions like watching your money circle the drain only to rebound 3 days later. The nature of index funds and ETFs tracking the market or sectors of the market and being automatically diversified makes them excellent investments to set and forget. Set it and forget it. The last perk I want to mention is the low cost of owning index funds and ETFs. Index funds and ETFs run anywhere between 0.03% and 1%, which means that they cost $3 to $10 per every $10,000 you have invested per year. Since the cost of owning index funds or ETFs detract from your overall profits, keeping fees low is money. Literally. Now let's talk about which ETFs and index funds I find intriguing across a variety of markets. These examples are just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of index funds and ETFs to choose from. These are just some of my favorites presented in no particular order. There is no order in particular. First up, we have Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. If you don't want to say that mouthful, it goes by the ticker symbol VTI. Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund is not just cleverly named. VTI is an index fund designed to track the performance of the entire stock market. Like the entire stock market. This index fund invests in large, mid, small, and micro cap stocks trading on the entirety of the New York Stock Exchange. Buying over 2,800 stocks sounds crazy for the average investor, not to mention a brand new one, but shares of VTI will automatically diversify you across the entire market. For an extremely low expense of 0.03% or $3 for every $10,000 invested, VTI can help you grow your portfolio in step with the New York Stock Exchange. New York Stock Exchange. Say it with me, New York Stock Exchange. VTI can help you grow your portfolio in step with the New York Stock Exchange. Did it. Let's step away from the market as a whole and see how Vanguard's Small Cap Index Fund, or VB, stacks up against the small cap market. But first, a quick recap. Small cap stocks are from companies that have between $300 million and $2 billion in market capitalization. These companies are a bit of a wilder ride in general because they are not as firmly established as larger companies. They do tend to outperform large cap stocks though, as small cap companies have a lot of growth potential. Small cap stocks are volatile, and using an index fund to spread out the risk is a solid investment strategy. VB, with its low expenses of 0.05%, is a great way to get exposure to the small cap market without playing Vegas odds with all your money. Vanguard comes out swinging again with an amazing international index fund. Vanguard Total International Stock Index, or VXUS, invests in all caps of securities in both developed and emerging markets. The US is excluded from this list. It's a true international fund. The expense ratio for this index fund is slightly higher than what we've seen at 0.08%, but that's still only $8 for every $10,000 invested. Emerging market stocks can be a bit unpredictable, but stabilizing the fund with developing markets to mirror average returns of the international sector of the market is how VXUS can get returns that appear more like a dog bounding up stairs. If you want to diversify your portfolio, turning to the international market with a fund like VXUS should help to maximize growth while minimizing risk. Next, let's turn to real estate. REET, or iShares Global REIT ETF, is one of the more expensive securities we'll be talking about today. It's 0.14%, which seems a little rude considering some of these ETFs and index funds run 0.03%, but you know what it's a lot cheaper and easier than? Investing in real estate on your own. Unless you're living under a rock. And hey, no judgment there, you have seen real estate prices across the globe skyrocketing in the last few years. REET offers the opportunity to invest in real estate internationally without having to write a check to a developer. REIT trades like a stock and is an excellent way to diversify your portfolio with real estate without having to get your hands dirty. Now let's talk about tech, baby. I said tech. ARKK, or ARK Innovation ETF, is both expensive and aggressive. ARK focuses on investing in disruptive technology stocks in the US and internationally. ARK is actively managed because the tech market has more mood swings than Moira.
Of course you were. Now will you be a doll and fetch Mummy a knife?
A knife?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you'll find one lodged in the middle of my back.
So the 0.75% fund cost makes a bit of sense. ARK invests aggressively. If you want something a little more G-rated, I recommend checking out the ticker symbol QQQ. Still tech, but with a little less spice. Alright, let's talk downsides. ETFs and index funds are not all rainbows and sunshine. There are a few disadvantages. Let's talk through them. Index funds and ETFs are both extremely liquid, and while that sounds advantageous, for the wrong investor, it could encourage buying and selling on emotion. Not all ETFs and index funds have a low management fee. It cannot be a blanket assumption. Investors need to pay close attention to fees associated with any index fund or ETF where they plan to invest. Alright, now's the part of the video where I make like a bee and buzz off, but first I want to give you a quick recap of today's video. Index funds and ETFs are a great investment for people who want to take advantage of market growth and are cool with a buy and hold strategy. They're a solid place for new investors or even experienced investors who are overwhelmed with the options, and they come with an endorsement from Uncle Warren himself, one of the most famous investors of all time. If you keep your eyes on those management fees, there is real potential for growth. If you found this review and info helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more money-related content on my channel. Also, follow me on Twitter where I post original content every single day. And if you have an experience with a favorite index fund or ETF, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.